that we have somebody who's going to have our back. And ladies and gentlemen, Beto O'Rourke is a guy. He is a guy. I believe that he is the one. But I also want to make sure that we have good Democrats. Good Democrats representing our county, our area, our valley, our Hispanic families, our Hispanic families, everybody. And I'm going to tell you, as a granddaughter of immigrants, everybody has a dream, and everybody deserves to be here. Everybody deserves that. We don't need to be put in cages. We don't need to be behind closed doors. We need somebody who's going to have our back, and that's going to be Beto.
Has shown over and over again that he's willing to put the interest and special interest over the people of this community specifically. When it came to COVID, hundreds of thousands of people died on his watch. Why? Because he chose special interest over the lives of the people in Texas and the people of this community. Let's not forget that. When it came to the freeze, the catastrophic freeze, when he couldn't keep the lights on in Texas, and the legislature had a chance to regulate electric prices and had a chance to fix the grid, what did Greg Abbott do? He stood with the gas lobby, he stood with the energy lobby, and he did nothing. And we're still in the same position that we were back then. And we're seeing utility rates in the city, we all hear about that. That's not the fault of anybody other than the governor of this state, because he refused to regulate gas companies, and now we're seeing astronomical prices in gas because the governor chose to take the money of the gas lobby and the special interests in the state, and we're all paying for it. Let's not forget that.
So many people from Texas, people here from the valley that went to California to work over there in the fields of California to help the state of California, to help us become a more prosperous state. Well, you know what? It's time for California to come back to Texas, okay? Well, you have a governor here that does not respect those essential workers, those emigrantes. You have a governor here that does not respect children. We have a governor here in Texas that does not respect women, okay? And I want to say to Governor Abbott, you know what? I want you to learn the words of the great president of Mexico, Benito Juárez. ¿Qué dijo Benito Juárez? El respeto al derecho ajeno es la paz. Respecting other people's right to speak. So, Greg Abbott needs an education, no? But he also wants to take away from the education of the people in Texas the things that they should know. They want to decide what books we should read. They want to take separate chairos out of the history books here in Texas, no? ¿Quién que la gente sea ignorante? You know, like slave days, when people were not supposed to, it was a crime to learn how to read and write, okay? That's what they want. They want the people to be divided with these cultural wars that they have. But we have to say to Greg Abbott, you know what? Ya basta! Ya basta! Right now you have a governor that likes to punish people, that likes to hurt people, no? Fascista. And that person is Beto O'Rourke. So does that make you feel good to know what you can do to make history for Texas, to make history for the United States of America, to make history for the world, okay? It's on your shoulders. No pressure. No pressure. power. Are you ready? Who's got the power? Who's got the power? I'm going to use that power to elect Evento or work for the next governor. Y ahora tenemos con nosotros, now we have with us, the next governor of Texas.
Don't forget, go out and vote, get these people elected.
On behalf of Team Vallejo, thank you so much for making it to today's rally. Did you just love the music you heard from Lost in Limbo?
Thank you, Jessica, and muy buenos días a todos ustedes. I want to not only say thank you to Jessica, but recognize her also, because she was a pioneer who opened the doors here. For progressive voices here in the region, and she will always be welcome in our home, in our area. Vamos a quedar en lo mismo como estamos y ahorita está terrible las mentiras de estos que siempre han estado en contra de nosotros. ¿Qué más necesitamos? Ya nada, ya lo vimos todo y necesitamos que animarnos y salir a votar. Así es que vamos a terminar con este aplauso organizado, compañero de Lupe.
Status quo wants us to think that nothing ever changes. But it's time to no longer talk about what we can't do and get to work on what we must do here in the RGE. And what we must do is elect leaders that will stand by working people and raise the minimum wage at least to $15 an hour or to a union wage for every single person. What we must do is elect leaders that will fight against and overturn Citizens United and get big money out of politics. What we must do is elect leaders who are going to stand side by side with working people and not just change this from a state just that is run by Republicans to Democrats, but change this from a state that works for the billionaire class to one that works for working class people. What we must do is elect Michelle Vallejo to the United States Congress. And what is so beautiful about being here with you all tonight is that it's clear that it is not just about me, it is not just about Michelle, it's not just about Bernie being here, even though it's awesome that we have Bernie. But it's about all of us. It's about this movement. It's about something much bigger than any one given election cycle. What y'all are doing here is building the people-powered kinds of campaigns that can re-inspire this community and turn us from a red state to an organized state, from a corporate-run state to a state that works for a family. That's what y'all are doing here. That's what we have to be committed to. Y'all are building a new future for this part of the state. That means you're building a new future for all of Texas. And when we change Texas, we change the trajectory of this country.
Hello, everybody. I am Michelle Vallejo, and I'm the Democratic nominee for Texas District 15.
As a United States Senator, I can tell you we need Michelle in Congress. Please make sure she gets there. Look, here is the story, and it's not complicated. What politics is all about is which side are you on? You could be on the side of billionaires who want more tax breaks, or you could be on the side of working people who want a decent life. In many cases, that is not the reality today. Our people need a higher education in order to deal with the advanced technology that's taken place. In America today, we got hundreds of thousands of bright young people who want to get a higher education. They want to go to a trade school. They want to advance themselves to make it into the middle class, but they're scared to death when they leave school, they'll be $50,000 in debt. That is not what America is supposed to be about. I grew up in a family that had no money. I lived in a rent-controlled apartment. And back then, believe it or not, there were public colleges and universities that were tuition-free, some of the best in America. If 50 years ago we got public colleges and universities tuition-free, we can do it today, and that's what Michelle believes and what I believe. And let me say a word about another issue that is a terrible issue, and nobody has a magic solution to it. What the scientists tell us, and you know this right down here, is if we do not get a handle on climate change, the planet, the country, the state that your kids and your grandchildren will be living in will become increasingly unhealthy and uninhabitable. There will be more drought, more flooding, more extreme weather disturbances, more migration, because people all over the world are not going to have clean water to drink. They're not going to be able to grow their crops. They're going to be dealing with drought. We have a moral responsibility to transform our energy system. And when we do that, we create millions of good-paying jobs as we save the planet. Now, here in Texas and in my state of Vermont, you have thousands and thousands of men and women who put their lives on the line, sometimes die, to say that America will remain a democracy, not an authoritarian society. We will not allow Trump and his friends to undermine that democracy. During this terrible pandemic, which has taken over 1 million lives in our country, and millions of people got sick, tens of thousands of workers died because they had to go to work. They didn't have a choice about whether they would sit home in their office with their fancy computer. They had to go into a hospital. We lost 5,000 nurses. They had to work in a warehouse. They had to work in a meat packing plant. They had to work with people who were next to them. Tens of thousands died because they didn't have any choice, but they had to feed their families. And at the same time as workers died, the billionaire class saw a $2 trillion increase in their wealth. If you are a worker in America today for a large corporation, know that the CEO of that corporation is earning 400 times what the worker is earning. And as a result of inflation, many working people are falling further and further behind. And I want to say a word about this inflation, because Republicans are going around and they're saying inflation is a serious problem. It is. A lot of people are hurting. Gas prices, food prices, drug prices, whatever it may be. What they don't tell you is what the causes of inflation are. They want to blame Joe Biden, they want to blame Bernie Sanders, for inflation? Well, we have got to explain basic economics 101 to them. And that is, inflation is not just an American issue. In the United Kingdom, inflation is 10%, 2 points higher than it is in America. In Europe, it's 11%, we're at 8%. The causes of inflation are the pandemic and the breakdown of supply chain, raised prices. The causes of inflation are the terrible, terrible war, Russian invasion of Ukraine and all that that has done. But there is another cause of inflation which Republicans in a million years will never talk about it. And the major cause of inflation today, the reason why prices at the gas pump, in the grocery store are soaring, is because of corporate greed. Everybody, well, thank you all for coming out. I'm from Vermont. We're not used to this sunshine. I don't have to tell anybody that this is the most important midterm election in our lifetime. And what's at stake is which side the candidate is on. And Michelle is on the side of working families who are struggling every day. She's on the side of raising the minimum wage to a living wage. She's on the side of making it easier for workers to join unions. She's on the side of saying that health care is a human right and that every person in this country deserves health care. She is on the side of making it clear that all of our young people in this country, no matter what their income is, are entitled to higher education, tuition-free at a public college or university. So that's what this campaign is about. Nationally, what the Republicans want to do is give massive tax breaks to the very, very wealthiest people in this country, and then cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Republicans are turning their back on the existential threat of climate change, which is going to impact not only Texas, Vermont, the whole world. So the choice in this campaign is pretty clear. The turnout is not going to be high, which means that every vote counts, and we have got to do everything that we can. If people tell you this election doesn't matter, tell them it matters big time which party controls the House or the Senate. At that point, because Democrats controlled the House and the Senate, marginally, we have 50-50 in the Senate, we wrote the American Rescue Plan. And I want you to remember what we did with that plan. In the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of a time when millions of workers were losing their jobs, we made sure that every man, woman, and child in this country had a check of $1,400. Remember that? Yes. All right?
Thank you.
That's a family of four, $5,600. That kept families afloat, prevented people from getting evicted from their apartments. Now, we are being attacked for doing that, but I make no apologies for doing that. All right? Now, in the midst of that pandemic and massive unemployment, we extended unemployment benefits so that when workers lost their jobs, they had food on the table to feed their kids. In the midst of that pandemic, when hospitals were overflowing with COVID patients, some of them were on the verge of collapse, we put billions of dollars to strengthen hospitals. We made sure that every parent in this country got a check of $300 a month per child. Remember that? Yes. Does that matter? Yes. All right, that's what we did without one bloody Republican vote.
All right.